Nothing is more frustrating than when you get on the scales and they've gone up 800 grams or even a kilo overnight and you have no idea why. You just want to pick those scales up and throw them out the window. If this sounds like you, stick around because I'm going to tell you some reasons why this happens, but more importantly, what you can do about it so you don't lose your shizzle and you can stay on this weight loss journey and nail your goal. Hi, I'm Sheryl. I'm a weight loss coach, qualified nutritionist, and I have weighed people all day, every day for the last 15 years. So I definitely know a thing or two about those blimmin' scales and when they're not behaving. But here's the thing, there are some really simple reasons why the scales are going up and down. And when you start to understand that, you can change your behavior so that you feel more in control. And even on the things that you can't control, at least you're going to understand why it's happening, which stops you from losing your shizzle and wanting to throw those scales out the window, okay? It's not the scales' fault. All they're doing is just giving you feedback, giving you information on what's going on within your body. So let me go over some common things that can cause your scales to jump up overnight that you might not be thinking about that really could be impacting your results. So number one, and this is always going to be the biggest one, especially if you're female, is hormones. If you're at a certain part of your cycle, that is going to encourage fluid retention. So what you're seeing when the scales go up is not fat. It's most likely just fluid. And this is very easily caused by change in hormone levels. So if you still have your menstrual cycle, start tracking your cycle and look at your weight. And I bet you're going to start to see some patterns that on certain days of your cycle, predominantly ovulation and right before your period, you're going to see that your fluid will go up, okay? So this is a really good way of tracking your weight around your cycle so you start to understand why your weight's going up and you get a bit more background into what's going on with your hormones. So that's number one. Number two is if you eat something salty, especially if you're having something salty for dinner. It's very common for me if I have something like bacon for dinner, my weight will be up easily by a kilo the next day. So because I've tracked my weight for a long time and I've seen that, I don't eat bacon for dinner. Okay, I might have it for breakfast, maybe for lunch, but after lunch, I try my hardest not to eat really salty foods purely because I've seen what it does on the scales. And when your weight's going up this much overnight, it's a sign of inflammation. So I just try and not do that to my body as much as possible. Now, it's not always possible. There might be times where you're going out for dinner, especially to an Asian restaurant. You might be having a higher level of salt. Just try and drink as much water as possible to minimize the damage. And if the scales do jump up the next day, just know that if you drink lots of water, hopefully they will go down quickly. Now, water is my next point because, funnily enough, if you don't drink enough water, that can cause the scales to go up too. Because within our body, our fluid levels are very, very tightly regulated. And if you're not drinking enough water, your body may respond by holding on to those internal water stores to keep your levels high enough, which means that you get fluid retention. So your scales are going up, you're very frustrated, and it could simply be because you're not drinking enough water. And this one has a very simple solution. Just start tracking your water, making sure you're getting a good amount. 2 liters per day is a pretty good level for most people. And then see if this makes a difference. Because I've noticed with clients that when they start drinking more water, their results really improve and their fluid levels will drop because they're simply getting much better hydration during the day. Now, the other thing that can step in to really mess with the scales and cause them to go up is sleep. I see this a lot in clients who have young kids, or maybe they're going through things in menopause that are affecting their sleep. They're having bad sleep and the scales are not behaving themselves at all. And it simply is that inflammatory effect of bad sleep, of not getting enough sleep during the night, of waking up too early. Now, this kind of does go into that category of things that we can't always control. But what I want is that you're aware of why this is happening. If you've had a bad night's sleep, just know that when you get on the scales, it might not go according to what you want to see. But look, hopefully those bad nights of sleep don't keep continuing night after night so that when you do get a chance for better sleep, you're going to see those scales come down again. And once again, this is not always something that you can control. I always say to my clients in terms of sleep, go to bed as early as you can. That's the one thing we can control. We can't always control what time we're waking up, but we can usually control what time we're going to bed. So go to bed as early as you can, and hopefully that's going to help avoid any unnecessary inflammation that you see on the scales the next day. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is medication. If you have to take some type of medication, just be aware that that will often cause fluid retention and your scales are going to go up. Now, it doesn't always happen, but I have seen this in clients before. When they start taking new meds, their body's reacting by holding on to water, maybe a bit of inflammation, just while it's trying to recalibrate everything. And that's what you're going to see on the scales. So again, don't panic. Just be aware of it and know that it might be impacting your results. And hopefully once you stop taking the medication, it's going to drop again. You see that number on the scales, it really is just data. It's just information. It's telling you, look, your fluid is up. If you've been on point with your plan, it's not going to be fat, okay? So don't panic. Just look at the information you're getting and start tracking all of these things that I've talked about, because knowledge is power. And when you start to track your actions and you see the results, you are going to start to see that pattern of why your scales are going up. Now, it doesn't mean we can always control it, but when you have the knowledge, it makes it a lot easier for you to deal with. And we've got to be aware of this, because any time when we are losing our shit and getting really frustrated, those are the moments when we might quit. And we don't want to go quitting, because if we quit, we are never going to reach our goal. Okay? So track, look for patterns, and if in doubt, just drink more water. Drinking more water is one of the easiest ways that you can see those fluid levels start to regulate. Drink more water and go to bed on time. Please follow along if you want more tips about low carb nutrition and weight loss, because there's nothing I love more than helping women nail their goals. I hope that's helped, and if you want more tips like this, please subscribe, because I love sharing tips that are going to help women over 40 nail their weight loss goals and find a way of eating that's going to give you sustainable and permanent results.